Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to another episode of Healing Ties 2.0, featured on the Whole Care Network. I'm your host, Christopher McClellan. You just might know me as the Bowtie Guy. On Healing Ties 2.0, we visit with people from all over the globe who share their story because it's through story sharing where diversity meets the road to collaborate on a common cause. And our common cause is supporting caregivers before, during, and after caregiving ends. Caregiving is just not a local issue. It's a universal issue that brings people together from diverse backgrounds and beliefs because the best information and referral caregivers receive are from other caregivers who have been on their own personal caregiving journey, who understand where you've been and where you're going. On Healing Ties, we take it a step further and ask, beyond caregiving, how do we care? How do we care for ourselves, our family, our neighbors, and our friends? How do we heal the social, the physical, the financial, the spiritual aspects of our life? And we do this by creating healing ties. On today's episode, we feature the amazing story of cancer survivor, kidney transplant recipient Jeff Studzinski. I think we've all heard the phrase, when given lemons, make lemonade. Since his first health calamity over 17 years ago, Jeff has been making beautiful lemonade and providing hope and love to people across the globe who face challenging diagnoses just as Jeff has. As an ambassador of hope for the Cancer Hope Network, Jeff is an inspirational global motivational speaker and cancer hope coach. I can assure you, you'll be immediately taken in by Jeff's enthusiasm, and I know you're going to love the story about his angel who provided him with a new kidney. Let's enjoy my conversation with Jeff. Welcome, Jeff, to Healing Ties 2.0. It's great to visit with you today.
Good morning, Chris. It's beautiful to see your face this morning.
Well, even though we're on radio, we are exchanging photo glances. So it is good to see you too, and good to hear you. And I know all of our listeners are going to love to hear your story because I am privileged to know you and your story. But Jeff, as I ask all my guests, how are you creating healing ties?
That's a wonderful question. I want to thank you for having me on my show. And I would like to say, go UK, as many of you follow me on some of my cancer hope sites to help with cancer. So thank you. Glad to be in UK, but we're not quite there yet.
We're going to go though when we can.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love your show and I love what you're doing, and I'm blessed to be part of your show and reaching out to our friends in the UK. There's always an event in your life that changes your path in life. You'll be walking and you think, okay, everything's nice and straight and going to reach all my goals and life's going to be terrific. And sometimes there could be a little turn in that road. And for me, that was about 17 years ago that my road that I was on, I was pretty happy. I was flying around the United States. I worked for a great company and was making great business relationships. But this morning, 17 years ago, I woke up and to decide and look around, and nothing looked quite familiar to me. And I mentioned to my wife that something's going on. I was rushed to the hospital, and at that time, I had gone in a coma. Never been in a coma, don't know what it's like, but I went in a coma and my family was told that he's probably not going to come out. For me, this was an extreme turning point in my life for the blessing, for the better, for the hope. I've been in business my whole career, but this wasn't going to be a career move, Chris. This was going to be a give back. This was going to be better than what I was doing. See, as in my coma, I remember one thing only, and that what was placed on my heart that would change my life forever. See, I realized real quickly that what God had placed on my heart then, when I was out, was to help others in need, was to help the hopeless, was to bring him in to clear picture that faith is a very powerful thing. So 2 days later, I was out of my coma. My doctor said, this guy might never be the same. And I began my journey then. The journey is what choice was I going to make? The choice was, can I live in being on dialysis? As I was told, my kidneys failed. You need to get on kidney dialysis. Chris, I could only explain that to you in a very short sentence, but it's like waking up in the morning, having a real bad case of the flu, and being told you're going to have to run a marathon today. That marathon was a marathon of life. I was told that's it. That's going to be your life. My decision was, I'm going to make this the best part of my life. Here's what I did. The first day of this incredible and intense pain, being on dialysis, I said to myself, as I looked around the room, there was 20 other people suffering as much as I was, if not more. And I seen this old bike that was sitting in a corner. And I asked my nurse, what is that? She said, oh, that's a bike that once in a while somebody will use for a few minutes to help in dialysis. And I thought, okay, what was placed on my heart was to help others in need. I asked them to put that bike on the end of my chair. Now, the only thing that you can move, Chris, is your legs. Got on the bike, 10 minutes I went on there. But here's the most important thing I remember. That first turn on the bike, that sprocket moved around and I looked around the room and there was hope.
Hope.
H-O-P-E in everybody's eyes. Why would someone decide to go through that? To shorten the journey and get to 2 years later. So what I did was I went 10 minutes, I went 10 minutes, I went 12 minutes. By the end of my dialysis journey, I was riding the bike nonstop for 4.5 hours to 5 hours a session. I found out that my why I wanted to do it was bigger than my kidney dialysis. My why propelled me to do things that was unheard of, maybe even the impossible. As my doctor shared with me, nobody has done that. And this is where I call my why in life. My why was, why am I going to do this? And in my mind, it was to get a kidney transplant, to take my life and propel it to do more for folks like me that are sitting in a chair strapped to a machine that's saving their life. And that began my journey. The other thing was I strapped on headsets, like you got that beautiful headset on today, Chris. I had a bigger one. It was the old type ones. And I would listen to the Bible and I would pray for everybody in there for healing, for miracles. And many of the folks there would pray with me. And we actually set up a group. And this is what hope is to me. It's like driving your car on empty, but really empty, like to the point of kind of spurting. And you're thinking to yourself, can I move any further? That's hopeless. That's no hope. And then hope comes and you put the gas and it's filling up. And that hope starts from the feet all the way to the heart.
Isn't it great that we have some good 4-letter words?
For me, it's probably the most important 4-letter word that you can have in your life. Chris, I started a cancer site, and I'll share my cancer journey in a little bit, But this ties in real well with hope. People ask me, what's the most important word and that you can help others? And for cancer patients, whether it's liver cancer or non-Hodgkin's I had, and melanoma and squamous cell, all those cancers, once you start to lose hope, what happens is the defenses in our body start to shut down. All that good stuff that normally takes vitamins and they work better and you get better circulation, all those wonderful benefits of life start to dissipate out the body. But when hope's there and great hope's there, the body can do amazing things. And for me, it gave me the wonderful opportunity not only to get off dialysis, but to move on with my life. I want to share with you the amazing people, though, around me. You don't get through cancer. You don't get through almost dying from your kidneys failing. It's a family. It is a lot of people that love you and care for you that are all around you. And my daughter, who was 21 years at the time when my kidneys failed, after 2 years of dialysis, she gave me the most beautiful, selfless gift in the world to her dad. I call her my courageous angel. And you had my son on, Josh, an episode or two ago. And Josh, besides my wife, was the first one to enthusiastically want to give me his kidney, but he couldn't because he was an opposite match. Here's a young man, Chris. At that time, I believe Josh was 18 years old. He was a bodybuilder. He taught me that the things in life are to never give up. And when you think you can't do anymore, you can. But it hit him really hard that we had a mission. When I say a mission, he knew that during my coma, what God had placed on my heart, he was going to be a part of it. I started a company called Revolutionizing Growth. I started my cancer site, Jeff Studzinski Cancer Hope Coach. And people write me around the world on a daily basis for one powerful word.
Hope.
And it is the biggest blessing in my life to be able to help others recharge, reset, and let that fire blow up.
Let that fire blow up, because any diagnosis is I'm going to make sure I word this correctly, because there are people who are diagnosed that don't have families.
Yes.
And that's why we do that's why we do these programs, to reach out to all people. But,
yes, you bet.
But when a diagnosis comes in, it impacts the entire family.
Absolutely. It is a family fight. The first chemo I went through, Josh stood next to me. My daughter was on the other side. My wife was there. And he says, "Dad, how you feeling after the first one?" I go, "Oh, not too bad." And then I got up out of the chair, fell back. He goes, "Can I help you?" I go, "Yeah." So he almost dragged me to the car in a loving way. It's such a blessing to have family that love you beyond words. That is part of my why. When I wanted to live, my why was, and I can clearly articulate it, was I wanted to live for my wife, for my kids, for hopefully God blesses me with grandchildren, which I have 6 now.
Very good.
And I wanted to do a lot with my church and help out my church grow. Those were in my heart every day. And when I was on that bike, that helped me to turn that wheel one more time to get to the point that I am in my life. I'm a very blessed 2-time cancer survivor, kidney transplant recipient, two major blood clots. a stent behind my heart, numerous surgeries on my eyes because of the diabetes. I chose hope with my why. I encourage your audience today, if they do anything, Chris, is to give themselves the gift of their why. Everybody's is different, but it's so powerful, Chris. It will get you over those obstacles that maybe even seem impossible, that seem too big. I can't get through that. To get through that with putting their why down, those are the days they could put it in their pocket, 3 sentences. That's going to help them not only get through that wall, but continually moving forward in a positive light.
The gift of why. I love that.
The gift of why. It's so powerful. The first seminar I gave was to, and the audience didn't know, and they came in and I had these little index cards on their chair. And they go, Jeff, what are you going to talk about today? And I says, I've got a really big gift for everybody that attended today. I could tell in everybody's eyes, they weren't thinking they're going to get a little index card. But when I explained to them how powerful this card could be in their life, everybody that left that seminar thanked me for this gift of moving forward during the storm. Everybody's going through a storm to a certain, you just went through a storm, friend, and you did amazing. One of the things that you blessed me with is so that I could pray for you to have healing upon your AFib and that it stays in control and that you stay healthy. And I see you today smiling, doing this show, my friend, and you are an inspiration to me. And to
well, thank you. Yeah, just to fill our listeners in on that, we're all very revealing. I have been dealing with a heart issue since last summer. And we've been wanting to do this show together for months. And it's another example of the why and the hope is some of those things. In order to get there, some of those things is you have to be self-aware and take care of yourself. And I had to step back because of my AFib and had a procedure in February. And I'm happy to report that I'm feeling pretty good. My why is having conversations with extraordinary people like yourself so that we can give hope to others through our story sharing. I know I'm a broken record when I say this to all my listeners, but it's through story sharing where diversity meets the road to collaborate on a common cause. Yes. And our common cause, I'm going to butt in on one of your 4-letter words. Our common cause is really to give hope to people.
Which is that amazing gift to others that we get the amazing privilege to do. And it's so powerful. When I think of this amazing gift that God gave me called life, and the angels that were courageous enough, so many of them that were willing to do that. And I look back at my life, and there's a common thread with amazing angels in my life. There's one thread that's real fit. All of them have a great faith that is unmovable, unshakable, that helps them to be courageous angels. See, I believe everybody has that in them. We all have this amazing greatness to do those things to help others. It's whether it's lit or it's encouraged or it's kindness or it's compassion that take that greatness and kind of shakes it up a little bit and it helps them to release theirs. And at that moment, when you can see that is one of your biggest blessings you'll ever see in your life. And I've been privileged to see a lot of those beautiful moments that people change. It's like me walking down the path and all of a sudden, boom, I'm on a different path. I'm on a mission driven path. So people ask me, hey, Jeff, what do you live by? There's not a seminar, workshop, speaking engagements that I ever have spoken at. The people don't ask me, what do you live by? What is your credo, if you want to? So here's what it is. Here's mine. It's live life with much passion, being that, like this morning before we were blessed to get on, Chris, I get all goosey. I get goosebumps on me. I'm like, woo-hoo-hoo! I get to help others. So I get fired up, excited. Then I combine that with the purpose. So why am I going to do this? We've still got COVID going on. We've got world healing. We've got a lot of stuff going on. And when people write me, it's that get back to the hope. So the purpose is, like you said, is to bring that great hope.
Right.
So you live with passion that people could see. Any seminar I give, people go, he's crazy passionate. Well, crazy has been confirmed by my doctor. Passionate is confirmed by the people that listen to me speak, with purpose. And here's the key to my credo, like so I think to myself, I got purpose, I'm stirring in a pot, then I put some passion and I mix in some purpose and I'm stirring it. But something's still not in this recipe that's right. And then I smother it with gratitude. Smother it. I would not be here. I can't count how many people on my hands and toes. And there's so many people in my life that have helped me, saved me, compassionately gave me, cared for me, prayed for me, that is unbelievable. I am in awe of the people that have gotten me to this point in my life and able to do things like this, Chris, with you on a mission-driven, sharing stories to bring people great hope, to get them through this storm in their life to the next step. Because God has beautiful things in our life in the next step, and our world becomes better. So my cancer site is a global site. It reaches most of the major international countries, UK, yay, thank you, UK. But we're in Africa, South Africa, Philippines, Asia, people that write me on a daily basis and are looking for ways to get to the next step in their cancer journey. And it is a journey.
It is a journey. The whole caregiving, life before caregiving, life after caregiving, no matter what your diagnosis is and who you're caring for, it is all a journey, and that's what connects us.
Absolutely. And the one word that resonates everywhere around the world is love.
Yes.
We all understand, feel, know when we're loved, know when we're cared for, know when we're prayed for, is love. It doesn't matter what country I'm speaking with, how many translations I go through. I know with love, I'm going to help this person with love. And it's so important. It's the universal word on our globe. Planet.
You have the best 4-letter words of anybody I've ever talked to.
Chris, I practice them. I practice my 4-letter words because I was thinking one day, what is really hope? What does it mean? And I like to sum it like having optimistic possibilities every day. Having optimistic possibilities every day.
Having optimistic possibilities.
Every day. I'm going to quiz you on this tomorrow, Chris. So you better write a note on, my friend. I'm gonna do that to you. But I'm going to share with you a little email that I got yesterday that shook me to my core a little bit. In that he wrote me, "Dear Jeff, I'm newly diagnosed with 2 types of cancer. I don't know where to go. No one seems to care about me, and I'm ready to give up." At my desk, I can feel that to my toes, how I felt for this person. Not only felt, but wanted to help in every way that I can. And I wrote him back and I shared with him this thought. I said, "Dear Ray, you matter. I care for you. I believe in you. we're going to help you. I partner with another organization called Cancer Hope Network, and they do one-on-one coaching, and I do too. But I felt like this gentleman needed to be matched with somebody that had lung cancer and colon cancer. And I wrote him and I said, we're going to help you. We're going to get you to the next stage. We care. Love, Coach Jeff. Everybody knows me on my cancer site by Coach Jeff. And my main beautiful blessing that I started 5 years ago when I was done with my chemo was to start a site with hope for people. And it took off in other countries faster than I could imagine. That universal word of love
The
and
universal word of love connects people.
Yes. And so I wrote this and he sent me back a different message. Jeff, I'm excited. You went from hopeless to hope-filled. We're on our way now on his journey to better days, to more hope. And most importantly for him at this point, he knows people care about him, that love him, and are going to help him in the healing process with cancer.
See, you are creating healing ties all over the place.
My wife says create a lot of other things.
We're going to get to that part also. But Jeff, this is a great place for us to take our break. And when we come back, I'm going to put you on the spot. I ask all my guests, I want to know one fun fact about you. And I'm sure there's like a gazillion, but know one fun fact about you. And I know our listeners are going to want to know. So be prepared. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give it a lot of thought.
You're listening to Healing Ties 2.0, featured on the Whole Care Network and UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. We'll be right back.
Everyone has a story, but not everyone gets the chance to share their story. So we're going to give you that chance. We want to hear about your story. We want to know how you're creating healing ties in your life and in your community. Email the bow tie guy at healingties.com and indicate if you'd like to be a guest on the show in order to tell your story. To your health, happiness and prosperity.
Coming up next week on Healing Ties.
I have this idea in occupational therapy of occupational justice, and that gets down to the idea of trying to help people who have limited access to occupational opportunities achieve access to those things. And that's sort of one of the primary tenets that inspired me to go about helping increasing caregiver access to high quality education and training and community support, because there are so many occupations that caregivers fill, and it's a huge role that they've stepped into, and it's so difficult traditionally for them to access the kind of professional trained support that they need, that I just thought there has to be a better way. Hi, Amelia Borland here with Higher Standards Caregiver Training. Join me next week on Healing Ties with Christopher McClellan, and we'll be talking about the importance of empowering caregivers with the skills and knowledge they need in order to take care of themselves and the people they care for. See you then.
Welcome back, everybody. And I am continuing my, I don't have the right word, delightful, wonderful, extraordinary conversation with my good friend, Jeff Studzinski. Jeff.
Chris, you're putting me on the spot, aren't you?
Putting you on the spot.
I want to know.
I want to know. I want to know. Give me a fun fact. What's a fun fact about you?
My wife could share thousands, but
I'm sure we'll have to have it on for another segment. I know what your son said to me about you, but I'll share that after I get my fun fact.
I always tell him he's my favorite son. I know he's my only son, but I always call him my favorite. So interestingly, as I go around speaking in that, and the question was, did I ever, my grandkids love to ask me about this, did I ever have a full head of hair? I love playing with this, especially with my grandkids, because they use the word balded, not bald. I'm balded.
Balded.
So I love that word. But I show him my picture, and I so wanted to have it for our show today, and I still can't find it. But when I was 17 years old, not only did I have a lot of thick hair, I had, I think they used to call it afros or something. So I had this big ton of hair that went up. And I went to a Catholic high school, and we couldn't have our hair below our ear.
Oh,
So
I remember those days.
Yeah. So we had to wear hush puppies because we couldn't scuff the floors.
Right.
And your hair couldn't touch, your earlobe.
Couldn't touch your collar or your ears.
Exactly. So I went up. I look at stuff in a different perspective than most people. So I went up, and I had this pompadour, or the guys used to call me, Pompadour Jeff, but I had this big afro, tons of hair. So the reason why I lost my hair, and my mom will laugh in heaven. I always said to my mom, I went bald early because I was a really bad boy when I was young, and she would get my hair and give me the little pull out, which my mom never did, but I used to share with my buddies that I was a bad guy. Anyway, that's my funny story. And my grandkids kid me every day about it.
Grandpa's balded.
Yeah. What? On a funny note, so we've talked a lot of serious stuff.
We did.
But let me share this with you, because I think it's a perfect time to say this. One of the most important things that you can do, whether you're going through cancer, heart disease, whatever major illness, here's a terrific medicine. And I do mean medicine. It's
laughter.
Laughter.
It is. Laughter, that old cliche, laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah, but think how you feel before you laugh, and think how you feel after. Mm-hmm. This wonderful, tight body that's nervous and maybe upset or frustrated, all of a sudden it goes away. And our perspective is new. It's exciting. It's hopeful. So laughter, I tell people going through cancer, when you get these wonderful side effects, I used to have, God, I had too much fun with the side effects of cancer. Probably should not have taken it this far. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I tended to look at those in funny ways. And even when I was sharing with my family, I would say, I thought it was a fart. And, what kids don't want to hear? The F word, the fart. But those are the things that reset our system from a health perspective. There's over 350 major benefits of laughing, on a serious note. So I don't do a seminar unless we laugh, because you need that blend to get it all in the body, and it resets our hope cycle too at the same time.
Oh, goodness. Laughter is the best medicine, and you're bringing it to people in a very serious and fun way.
Yeah, you need to add her. And I seriously believe going through all these major issues, the first time you hear cancer, your life is flipped upside down. You don't even know your name. And then you're going to have a lot of people tell you, you should do this, that, and 100 other things. And then you get home and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. So the laughter is really important. When I grew up and was a motivational speaker was when I changed my path of life. And I would call organizations to speak, and they would go, oh, we don't want a motivational speaker. And I go, why? They go, because everybody we heard, they get us through, and then they leave. I'm going to get you a little rah-rah. I'm going to get you a little excited, but I'm going to give you the tips to live the rest of your life with these key ingredients that will help you get through the storm and thrive.
Oh, goodness.
And that's so powerful, Chris.
Really want you to share your tips for successful living.
You're the best. And I just, two balded guys getting it right is a beautiful thing, my friend.
There you go. Just don't let the sun shine on your bald head.
That's it, baby. I love it. Number one for me was have faith. I mean, have faith. When I was on kidney dialysis, I prayed from beginning to end of my dialysis. I prayed for people in dialysis, prayed for my family, prayed for healing. And here's what I prayed for: a miracle. I needed a miracle health if I could one day go for transplant. I was told body's not ready, no way, heart's not ready, you're not in shape. So I rode the bike and I prayed for miracles. The tip of faith dovetails into another tip, and that is mind, body, spirit. A lot of people talk about it, but when you're living it, you are going to thrive. In other words, my son was a bodybuilder, and he shared with me that, Dad, you got all these chronic diseases. You got high blood pressure, you got kidney disease, you got diabetes, you got all these major health concerns. Exercise is one of the most powerful medicines that you can do daily.
Mhm.
And I speak in senior living communities, and people in their 90s are doing exercises in their wheelchairs. They're moving their toes and legs. They're shaking their hands. We have so much fun. They don't even realize, but they're laughing and working out at the same time. Two huge benefits. When the mind is right, good things happen. In other words, I'm going to think positive today, and I'm going to be grateful before I even touch the floor when I wake up about 3 great people in my life, and I'm going to pray for them and thank God for them. And then the spirit. I was in so much comfort during my stage 4 cancer because I prayed. Prayer is no more than speaking from your heart to God. That's what it is. It's like you and me right now, Chris. Just talking, having a conversation. If you have this with God, you're very powerful. Okay. Josh gave me a sign when I was going through cancer. He said, be your best all the time, regardless of what you're going through. And here's what I mean. Some days going through cancer treatment are going to be tough. They're going to be real tough. If you go to kidney dialysis, some of those sessions will be extremely tough. And maybe your best is going to be to say hi to somebody on your way home. That's
Isn't it amazing what a greeting, a hello, a friendly gesture?
A simple gesture of love goes a long way. And then the next day, it might be more. But don't say to yourself, I can only. Say to yourself, I can, not I can't, or I can only. Say, I can. And it changes the way that your actions come out. We talked about this one, so I'm going to move forward, but it's laugh. It's laugh a lot. I used to have a laughing monkey that I used to bring to presentations, and you press his thing and he lasts forever. And I asked people before I pressed this, how are you feeling right now? I spoke to a group of nurses, wonderful angels. God, they're heroes in this COVID crisis. And I had a bunch of nurses together who are so passionate. They've got busy. Their plates were full. I could tell a lot of them were stressed. And I go, how do you feel right now? And they go, oh, I'm stressed. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. And I told them to close their eyes, and I pressed that monkey's finger. And for a minute, they laughed too. Some of them said they never laughed as much in their life. And I asked them, how do you feel now? Relax, different perspective. I could handle my day, perspective. My daughter went to school, and she was a special ed teacher. And she called me one day and said, Dad, I can't take it no more. I've had it with me. I asked her, I said, so what does your day look like? What does it look like? She says, I work all day. I don't stop for lunch. I don't do this. I don't do that. I said, okay, here's what you're going to do tomorrow. You're going to go in with a different attitude. She goes, how am I going to do that? I said, what I want you to do is make up a little poster board with these kids' pictures on it and your last year students in a collage. And I want you to write a word or two what these kids, because that you taught them, what are they able to do now that after you going through them? What was that? And ask yourself one question. Why did you go into special ed teaching? Why?
Mm-hmm.
That changed her life, and she started to eat lunch. She wasn't eating lunch. She wasn't nourishing the body. She wasn't giving the body protein and carbs and vitamins. Few tips to my beautiful daughter is one of the best special ed teachers I've ever seen in my life. Sometimes we all need that step back to step forward. in a positive way. It's
That's right.
powerful.
It's very powerful.
I think for me, one of my biggest blessings has been during all this is I look at my bio and I call it my accomplishments of blessings. I would have never in the business world have been a volunteer, a hope ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation. I spoke with our Secretary of State to hospitals and groups. I would have never been a cancer hope coach, motivational speaker, global inspirational speaker. I would have never been involved with so many cancer organizations that are doing so much good for so many others. I would not have met these amazing people that write me daily asking for hope tips. I would not have been none of this that lifts my soul and body to a place that is as close to heaven as possible. I am blessed. I am blessed. And when we take that I am blessed, it changes everything around us and everyone around us.
Very much so.
I am blessed. My blessings are abundant. Right now, I have 6 amazing grandchildren. I was on a walk with my 4-year-old granddaughter who has called me Pa since she was born. P-A, 2 letters, Pa.
Pa.
The best word, best title I've ever been called is Pa. She said to me as we were walking the other day, she stopped on a dime and said, Pa, you are my best friend in the whole world. I am blessed.
You are blessed. Very much so.
I didn't think I'd see any of my grandchildren. Miracles can happen. So my doctor calls me Miracle Man. When I went in the hospital, when I was first diagnosed with end-stage renal failure, and to come out of it, he says, Jeff, I don't know if you ever known what your vitals were that night that you went in a coma. And I said, I do not. And he says, one day I'm going to send them to you. So we got the results in a couple months after, and I opened them up. Miracles happened. He said to me, Jeff, not only should you not have survived, we don't know in doctors' language how anyone could have survived. I am blessed.
You are blessed. So, Jeff, please share with all of our listeners how they can learn more about your programs and the love and hope that you're providing to everybody worldwide.
Thank you, Chris. The first site that's probably the most important site is on Facebook. It's called Jeff Studzinski, Cancer Hope Coach. I think I'm the only hope coach in the world, and that's on Facebook. I also have an organization that I started right after my kidney transplant called Revolutionizing Growth LC. The website for that is www.revolutionizing, which is REVOLUTIONIZING, another G, ROHH.com, revolutionizinggrowth.com with 2 G's in the middle. You can email me. You can message me on my cancer site. You can email me on any of my sites. You can contact me on my revolutionizinggrowth.com, my cancer site, Jeff Studzinski Cancer Hope Coach. I have a Facebook page on Revolutionizing Growth LLC, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Nothing is impossible. Miracles do happen, and I look forward to helping in any way that I can. But no question is never weird or crazy, or the only question that's not is not the one that's asked. And I always thank my people that write me their courage in sharing, because sometimes it takes that courage to share. Absolutely, Chris.
So, Jeff, with the work that you're doing, you are certainly someone who's creating healing ties all around us. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to visit with me today and our listeners. And most important, I can't thank you enough for your friendship and support.
Agreed, my friend. Agreed. Love you, buddy.
Likewise. Jeff's enthusiasm is only matched by his sincere desire to bring hope and love to individuals and families from all over the world who are facing a challenging diagnosis. When you're connected to Jeff, you know you are never alone. And be sure to check out and connect with Jeff on his website, revolutionizinggrowth.com, and his Facebook group, Cancer Hope Group. Well, that does it for this episode of Healing Ties on UK Health Radio. And if you'd like to share your story on Healing Ties, email me direct at thebowtieguy@healingties.com. We would love to share your story on UK Health Radio. I'm your presenter, Christopher McClellan. I've created a life to love after caregiving ends by being with awesome people like you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you for another episode of Healing Ties real soon. And stay tuned to UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. Bye for now.